Okay, hello and very good morning, everyone. Well, good morning from Buenos Aires and Calgary, where Don and I are currently based. I hope that the start of your week has been exciting, has been successful. Those that, well, if they've never tuned on any one of our webinars, my name is Chris Atsuraki. I'm CEO at INVR. I'm suffering from a very bad cold. I'm really sorry in advance. It is a great pleasure to kickstart this week with today's session that is about Libya. It is a very exciting topic, a very exciting country and market that many of you have shown interest in. And we wanted to continue this sort of like content about the country and the market. We want to look into it from a different dimension, and that's why we wanted to bring in Donald and Delta Energy Resources with us to have a broader conversation of the country, its potential, and how it can actually position itself as a prime destination for investment, right? And understand what are the main sectors and that investors are mainly interested in, and at the same time understand strategies, understand innovations, technologies, its competitiveness. And unfortunately, Ali Al-Ganzouri is sicker than I am, so he won't be joining this webinar, but I'm very sure that Don will cover a lot of ground on the matter. So let me welcome Donald Mortimer. He is president of Delta Energy Resources, and again, he's tuning in Canada. It's what time? 5:30 or 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock a.m. That's okay. It's very dark.
Oh, everyone's suffering from a cold these days. Don, thank you so much for tuning in against all odds and time zones.
Yes, no, I'm starting to get used to this. I'm a novice international player actually, and I wanted to say that I'm really looking forward to this conference in Cairo to start really begin learning. I have a good sense of geology and engineering and things like that, and the rules are pretty much common in that regard, but Libya is going to be new to me, and the conference in Cairo I think is going to cover a lot of territory. I just excuse me again. I just saw the latest format, and we're going to get little 15-minute bursts of people talking about a broad array of things. So I'll try to answer your questions as best I can. I think your first question is just a little bit about my history.
Exactly.
I grew up in Canada. My parents had a house right across the street from the university, so we were facing the university for all of us in my family to go there eventually in some way, and we all did. I couldn't avoid it, but I went into it with a kind of a technical bent. I was a physicist for a while, and then I thought about theoretical science and how abstract it is. So I looked for applied science after a couple of years, and engineering was the place I landed, and I really enjoyed. And this was in the late 70s when I graduated, and everybody in my class were going to interviews with oil and gas companies because it was sort of the peak years, especially in Canada. And I thought making a little hole in the ground can't be that much applied science. And so I went off on a more of an energy power plants and things like that. But as I kept looking over their shoulder, I got to know more about the business of oil and gas exploration and production. And I'm just fascinated by how complex and how vast it is, and how the risks we take and the rewards we have, and just a broad array of technologies. And so I keep educated all the time, and I've never lost that bent. And I started off as a facilities engineer. I kind of peaked in that very quickly, and then wanted to broaden into the other aspects of oil and gas. And I did that through a major exploration company in Calgary, and I really enjoyed working under geologists because that's an adventure, that's a journey. exploration. It's marvelous looking for clues, and I've kept on a little bit of that. I have worked in the service industry and the technical sides of it, but I've always come back to exploration, and now I've joined with Delta. I've spent the past 3 years. Delta's worked on a major project in North America, Middle East area. I'll just say we're prepared to spend about $4 billion in 4 years, but we couldn't get the traction we wanted, so we've moved on, and so now we're really particularly interested in Libya, the energy sector.
That's wonderful. And can you tell me a bit more about the company? I know we chatted a little bit about the founder, which I found fascinating. But can you tell us like the strengths of the company, where you guys have been present, and so like just give us a bit of an insight.
Okay, well, one of the versions, if you will, of Delta, and it was more through an investment, was in Centurion Energy. In about 2005, that sort of vintage. They were busy in the El Wastani area of Egypt, and they really caught on to a gas play in there, and were able to really react with facilities construction and infill drilling, and left there with that area with about 40,000 BOEs of production. And a lot of the people that were investing, including Delta at that time in Centurion, were very impressed with this. So the company was initially started, and we're going to use this sort of same format. Calgary is a center of excellence, I believe. It's just got such a high concentration. Calgary is sort of the brain empire of the oil and gas industry. And I've grown up here. I know so many people. We're so collaborative, even with our competitors. I can walk across the street and get an answer to just about any pressing question, no matter what the complexity is, because we have so many experts available to us. We have so many good service companies, connections. We can discuss things and really evolve and react really quickly. So, we plan to start our initial venture, if you will, into Libya with that sort of a structure that will be building our skills here very quickly. And then as we grow, we'll be migrating that to Libya and responding so that we can even get better communication and be able to react to the environment there. So that's the sort of connection there and what we plan to do.
That's excellent. And I love how you bridged and connected it to Libya straight away. So what would you say, in your opinion, are the exciting opportunities in the country, right? For companies that are looking to invest in the energy sector, oil and gas sector more than the energy sector per se. And how can they actually capitalize on these opportunities?
Well, Carissa, the attraction for Libya is its world-class reservoirs that have served them well. I mean, these are places that you only dream of. The porosity of a reservoir there is just outstanding. The porosity is the pore volume that holds the fluids, and it's a percentage of the total rock. The numbers there are outstanding. Then you combine that with other criteria for just looking at reservoirs. Permeability, which is the interconnection of those pore spaces so you can transport the fluid away and produce it. Again, off the charts. The thickness of reservoirs, I've never seen reservoirs quite this thick. And then the area extent, magnificent. So, we're excited. Our shareholders are excited. Our managers are excited about opportunities to invest in Libya and apply our skills. And we understand, and what's attracted us is the NOC has set an urgent goal of production goal of 2 million barrels per day for the country. And if we have access to existing fields, we understand that some of the production increases that we can get to can be made simply and quickly by servicing wells, downhole and surface equipment, along with repairs and replacements of existing equipment. These are easy investments we can make while getting familiar with the geology and the engineering in the area. And on this note, one of our strengths, and we've had a good history of this, and El Wastani was a demonstration project, is fast track construction of facilities. Here, our chairman Saeed Arata really pushed engineers and fabricators to give him an answer that can get field equipment in place, particularly when you're producing gas. You drill an oil well, you can back the truck up and take it to the bank. With gas production, you have to build up a momentum, and then you almost always have to treat the gas in some regard. So you've got to kind of get to a threshold, and then these sites of facilities can take 2 to 3 years to come into play. So this fast track concept, we've really refined it, and we can do it with small oil treater packages, or we can do it with things like deep cut gas plants. And maybe we can go on with petrochemical and other plants even. But we plan things out in a conventional sense and do all the normal things you would to plan a plant, but we begin to break down each piece of the facility towards the largest shippable component, and then down into sea containers. So we're going to build everything, or virtually everything is built indoors in a best environment situation with regard to access materials, access to skilled labor, safety, accessibility. And we do this in fabrication shops. And, we start working on the long lead items very quickly and then add this. And these get built in modules, again, in this controlled environment that's out of the influences of weather and shortages and things like that. It's really a new sort of speedy way of getting things done. And the goal is that all this plant gets reassembled at the site. The civil work is done there, simply that, and we're ready to place these modules in location. And I don't know if you've got a IKEA stores, the Swiss or Swedish.
The Swedish, yeah. Everyone loves IKEA.
Well, the engineers refer to them as IKEA drawings. These are the assembly of drawings. We don't give you a little Allen wrench to put it together because you need the big wrenches for that. But the idea is you just assemble this all together on site. Everything's being tested individually, but you take it to site and plug and play. And you do this without having, the goal is to have no welds on site, so no corrective work. And this has been done now, even when Said began it 20 years ago, it's almost become a model around the world, and particularly in Canada, where we have very short construction periods and very cold periods. So they're not inducive to, again, building things quickly and with the standard of quality. Now, the other thing that's attracted us is to Libya is being able to model reserves or reservoirs with a long production history really provides clarity. So we're looking forward to being able to examine the long production history, and be able to kind of apply new modeling techniques. And so this is going to, again, be a leapfrog to get us into a confident investment and then good confident production results. And we also look forward to the existing seismic and well logging and tests, and then the application of unconventional enrichment practices. And these are a broad array of, I don't think there is a real standard definition of it, but it's kind of, in the late 1990s, we started to go horizontal in wells. We just traditionally drilled vertical wells because that's the easiest thing to do. But the turning of the bit really changed things and brought in a whole new set of tools and practices. And we've had lots of experiences with these, and we want to just see where Libya is prepared for this. And then if, with regard to the existing oil fields and new oil fields, I mean, there's lots of new techniques in secondary and tertiary recovery. So these are stages that a reservoir goes through in its depletion. You let it, you use the natural forces to recover as much oil as you can, and then you start to influence that by injecting water or surfactants or polymers to help assist you in additional recovery, and that's always at additional cost. So I hope that gives you an idea of why we're excited about Libya.
I love, because usually we have a very, very broad, high level explanation. Yeah, Libya has proven production, proven reserves, but then I also heard the plan and I really like it. Then, but let me go a bit back on the high level to understand, in your opinion, again, like in Libya, what are these key investment opportunities, right, that you foresee in the energy sector over the next, let's say, 5 years?
Well, it depends on the opportunities they're going to give us. We have the financial strength, so I hope they recognize that. But we also sort of want to get our feet wet. So, if it's getting into the existing fields, I call it new oil from old fields. And again, the
I
application
like
of
that.
modern enhanced recovery, just better understanding of the reservoir and where the oil's coming from, and if we're sweeping sufficiently and getting that efficiency of recovery and within the known boundaries of the reservoir, applying new techniques with horizontal practices, that'd be one. I mean, there's an incredible amount of tools when I start thinking of them and listing them. But anyways, that's technology. That's artificial intelligence in your phone. But we'd also like to do exploration if we can. With all the work that's already been done in Libya, they were chasing large reservoirs. So there's left behind clues to other horizons and other opportunities. Their sites were large then, but if we set our sights on medium targets now and say, well, this could be over here or in this direction, you get a basin evolution and little points of data here and there, and you start to connect the dots, and it becomes a new fields. There's so much seismic available already, but you start reprocessing that and doing new shoots. You're going to find that you can really get a quick understanding and some real results. And then the third thing is the possibility of shale. Shale is the source rock. So if you look at a kitchen, this is where the oil's made, in the kitchen or natural gas or wherever, and it can be even still producing there. But if you go off where the oil migrates and gets stored, the pantry of the kitchen, that's where most people have gone in the past. But we hear about these shale plays. So this is a different type of rock. Some people refer to it as almost mudstone, but this is where the organic material is still being cooked and pressurized, and it is evolving into hydrocarbon. And we've got some experience on that side. And I'm looking forward, because it's a whole new sort of geological view of things and the clues you got to pick on. And then this hydraulic fracturing that you hear about, and people are pounding this poor shale to extract as quickly as they can. But, they're probably skipping some good conservation practices they could employ by looking at the data carefully. But that's just my own little boat that I like to travel on every once in a while, that maybe we're overdoing some of the things we do. It seems always what can be done can be overdone, and certainly it can be. So, and there's also the idea of, and this is a little bit on other topic, but carbon capture, utilization, and storage. And that's an interesting topic. It's again, it's something I've had some really good experience in, and I'm looking forward to meeting other people and just throwing things out, because again, I got to better understand the reservoirs and where this utilization component of carbon can be used, because it used to be just called carbon capture and storage, but this utilization is a new topic. So I'm looking forward to opportunities in Libya there.
Yeah, when we were drafting the agenda, this is one of the topics that we were also looking into, because I believe like the same thing that Libya offers so many opportunities that many are not aware of, and this is what we're trying to do with this conference. Like we want to bring these opportunities out. Of course, like the headlines, but then behind the headlines, you have so much technical work that can happen, that can take place in Libya, actual work, exploration, production, EOR. You mentioned like CCUS, completely agree. I was taking notes. And if you apply the right technology, the right tools, the right teams, you mentioned teams as well, because Libyans are also very, very well skilled. And they do have the experience, and they do love, acquiring know-how and expanding this knowledge. I think that it's a that's a sweet golden point. So the next question: what are the key factors that actually, I love how it's also like below, that make Libya a very compelling destination, an interesting destination for energy investments, but focusing on companies like yours that are looking to expand their portfolios in North Africa? I wouldn't say Middle East, I'll say North Africa. That's very accurate there.
Well, though I think what sets Libya apart is they've extended an invitation to modernize. I sat down with them a bit, but I hope to hear more in the conference. So, I understand they want to be collecting more data and digitizing it and processing it. They've talked about basically better IT, but I always think that's a view to artificial intelligence, because when you've got all this data, there are clues in there and patterns and things that can really come into play. And I've just found in other areas, I can't get enough good modern data. Again, where I came from, we established a regulatory environment where we had to share a lot of data. And it's being exported around the world. And I've seen countries, environments where they actually ask for too much data, and they're just asking for it because they can, but they don't do anything with it, which puts a burden on companies that have to produce it. It's like having to report what you do every day. So it's got to be carefully structured. But I think even, if you want to bring in these modern technologies, you better understand their application and some of the things that can go wrong. So they can be a little bit misleading and cause you problems, actually. So your regulatory environment has got to come forward. And I think they've expressed that to me. The other thing, I say was they want to advance their understanding of the industry. This is great. This makes for better regulation and knowledge of unconventional methods. And I heard their other goals are elevating their standards, regulatory, solar, wind, law. We applaud all these steps and look forward to some collaboration with them. So I think, again, as an international company, we've seen some other things that, we can say, this really works very well to avoid bun fights and misunderstandings and things like that. But, if you're going to drill horizontal wells, 3 or 4 kilometers long, you might have somebody else's business pretty quick or something. I don't know, but there are some problems. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And what are these key areas that international companies like yours, they can actually make a significant impact on and contribute to the country's economic growth and energy development? So local content, and like foreign contribution. How do you see this?
Well, I said we're a Calgary-based company. We want to use all that concentration here, and then start to build it and apply it, sort through it, and then bring it into Libya and be able to discuss and gain adoption and understanding. But like I say, as an international company, and I like to distinguish ourselves, we're I think try to be humble and understand as guests in Libya, that we should understand the rules and the methodology and the culture too. And so we've got a good history, I think, of being very collaborative in other areas. Again, to distinguish Canada, I always had a lot of partners I had to deal with, just the way the land is built and put together so you can extract. So,
Mhm.
my discussions to put forward technologies always involved convincing my shareholders and then convincing all my partners to do something. So I think we're good and ready, and this just migrates nicely on to this notion of collaboration and adoption and things like that. That we want to distinguish ourselves. That we'll be listening more than we'll be talking, if you will.
I like
So,
that. But you have so much to offer, and so that's actually very interesting because again, in such platforms, you do have, and that's again, that goes into local content when it comes to Libya. They are very eager to learn. I've never met a country that is always open with like, they just really love acquiring this know-how. They love pushing the boundary and saying, how can I learn more? How can I implement this? Despite challenges, they are always very keen to go on workshops. I think that they are one of the NOC is one of the main companies that I've seen around the world traveling just to acquire knowledge and know-how. And they have a very, very good technical background and a very good understanding of their own country and what it requires. So I think that international companies like yours and yours and more like particularly speaking, I think that you're going to find a very good ally in Libya. I think that you're going to find that it is a challenging place, but not because there's just so much to do in Libya. The opportunities are so many. Of course, the challenges as well, but I think that you have figured it out very well. So I wouldn't have said it better.
oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I mean, again, like gaining knowledge, it's a celebration. It's one of these positive things that are still remain in the world that we can do together. And rather at looking at each other, we can look at a problem together and rejoice in solutions and success. So it is a great environment, and it's one of curiosity and holding your breath and things like that. So I'm glad we can share that and have that opportunity. I'm going to try and think about setting some time to offer lectures on topics I'm passionate about, or just share that and have some great discussions, because I was taught very early to talk to a lot of people. I mean, it's you can read a lot of books, but you can read those books by talking to the people that have read them and get the highlights. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure they will also appreciate the fact that the fact that you have a very good technical background, the fact that you want to share this knowledge with them. I'm sure they're going to appreciate it as well. Just want to say hi also to Al Sahel group that is watching us. We're going to see each other in December, our friends and partners. And the final question. So how do you envision this investment positively having an impact on like having a positive impact on Libya's infrastructure? Infrastructure is very important in the country, right? They want to rebuild. They want to get it fixed as fast as possible because again, the opportunities are immense. So, what role can companies like Delta Energy Resources can play in making it happen and facilitating this, in facilitating the infrastructure game?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I'm accustomed in a broad sense that infrastructure is a responsibility. It's a national responsibility. It's part of why you have a government to represent you, to build things that will foster your goals, support businesses and encourage them to come. So you've built the sort of the foundation so that it just come in, whether it's electricity or water or just the fundamentals, transportation. But on the other hand, I see how Canada, as an example that I know well, has developed, and oil and gas has really opened up frontiers in our countries. I mean, we're going looking for oil and gas, and we're going to places where nobody's been. We're opening up these frontiers to other things like mining and agriculture and forestry. Forestry might not apply so much in Libya, but simple that same process. And once you get these sort of interesting investments that are generating things, the transmission lines have to come in. Better roads are built, better access. You know, camps that you had your workers living in become service centers. People want to live in these camps or nearby, and these communities are established, and you get this growth, and municipal taxation can take care of water and sewer and hospitals and school. But you know, we've got so many towns and communities that have just grown on the basis of this framework of a new frontier and a new area to go to. You know, that I think that I'll have a better understanding of, you know, what immediate infrastructure they want to participate in, and I think Delta, again with its strength, we can probably invest in some of these. And be particularly in guard if you want to take on natural gas as a big driver, and I've seen that. So natural gas, again, you have to build the big plants, the big transmission lines, but you want people to are able to access your facilities, because there's no use duplicating a lot of these facilities. They should be well planned so that they can be expanded, and then other people can make use of them, and have good access to them. And you know, the final thing I'd remark is all the geologists that I've worked with, I've always appreciated when they explore near an existing pipeline and near an existing road, because you know, it just follows. As soon as we build a pipeline from one of these big elephants, you know, then people start to say, oh, well, it's just, you know, I can chase smaller targets, and things just grow. So, you know, I'm looking forward to that. But I'm also looking forward to discussions about, you know, deep cut straddle plants to get the most out of Libyan gas before it leaves the country. You know, preserve the ethane and the propane and butane for yourself, build a petrochemical or a fertilizer industry based on that. So, you know, it's sort of secondary finishing of your products, but it's something that Libyans should give great consideration of, because you're diversifying. So lots of opportunities there, lots of good histories that I think you compare around the world, and get off to a good start. So, you know, this is my wish for Libya, is they evolve the same way that we were able to in Canada, with this diversity and a good educated workforce, and people that really enjoy, you know, working in the oil patch. And it's not just for the academic. I mean, we employ the most school dropouts, and we pay them a very good salary. So, you know, if that wasn't their world, we can find really important jobs for them in the oil industry. And that's been proven. And frankly, that's one of my worst concerns in Canada. If we don't continue this sort of thing, and grow or maintain our industries, we're going to lose that component of things, you know, that workforce we need. And you know, to get people out of poverty, you know, if you can even have, you know, use simple tools or simple tasks to get them, you know, going, and the self-respect, it just keeps growing, and people become envious and saying, I want an opportunity to be part of this. So it's a great journey I'm looking forward to, hopefully.
Yeah, inshallah. I think you're at the very right path, Don. I see Mr. Hossein is asking to participate, but I think, Karam, you can contact our partners, our Sahel, and then we can discuss about like an upcoming webinar, just by reading the chat at the same time. I want to see there. First of all, I want to wish, I really like, I know that we need to wrap, but I really like the fact that you have an entire plan laid out for Libya. And you're very excited about it. This is exactly what this market needs. It needs like very passionate partners. It needs partners that understand the market, that speak the language as well. I know your team also like speaks language. It's one of the warmest nations I've met. So there is no way that someone visits and does not fall in love with Libya. And I think that they're like truly going to appreciate this approach that you have about the know-how and educating, and at the same time working, right? Like putting like a lot of effort into making things happen in a different way, as you said, in an unconventional way. They do very much require that and need it, because they're also very open to this. Again, because they have such a good, strong technical background, they're very happy to implement these ideas and embrace them. So Don, we'll see each other in Cairo early early December, right? Inshallah.
Okay. Yes, certain.
We will,
Thank you.
and I'm sure that you will get the answers that you're seeking, like more technical details about the petrochemicals industry, about their plan, and so on and so forth. And lovely, like to have you with us today. Thank you so much for waking up so early for this. I thought I woke up early, but then you.
It's my pleasure, Chris.
Likewise, Don. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you all soon in Cairo.
Okay.
Thanks, Don. Have a good day ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.